Hi, this is Vanessa Garcia with Inductive Automation, and what I'm going to do today is do an ignition demonstration, kind of tailored more for the water wastewater industry. So first off, I just have a few slides, and then I'll actually load the software live and get into a demonstration of that. So that being said, we're going to start off here with a little company background. Inductive Automation was actually started in 2003, so we have been around for quite a while, and we are the pioneers in the database-centric web-launched HMI and SCADA arena. The software is currently being used in 54 different countries. We have about 445 system integrators in our program right now that resell and support the software throughout the world. So here's a list of some of the industries that the software is currently being used in, including water, wastewater. So Ignition is an industrial application server. The whole thing is web managed, the platform, the clients, and the designer. So I'll actually show you that in a moment when I actually load the software. Ignition is modular in nature, and the modules can be used to accomplish a variety of different things. You can use it for HMI SCADA functionality. Some people will use just the SQL bridge as a historian. You can log to any SQL database of your choice. So we have all the drivers, whether it's MySQL, SQL Server, Oracle, Postgres, IBM DB2, whatever you want to use. You can also use it for recipe and batch management and practically anything you can imagine. The last line's a little cheesy there, but it's really because of the binding architecture behind the components of Ignition that make it so flexible. Ignition's licensing is different from the others. We only sell per server, which means if you load Ignition on that one server and have that one license, you can actually have unlimited web launch clients, designers, as many data points as you want. You can connect to one or many SQL databases, unlimited screens, projects, etc. So it's completely scalable. Ignition also comes with a built-in OPC UA server and drivers, so you are welcome to use our OPC server. It's free and included, or you can use any other OPC server of your choice. And we'll make a connection to that just as easily. The drivers that we currently have are for Allen Bradley, PLCs, Modbus devices, and Siemens. All of this is 100% cross-platform, and that's because Ignition is 100% Java. So you actually can run both the clients and the server on any operating system. So it could be any flavor of Windows 2000 and above, 32, 64-bit, Linux, or even a Mac computer. At this time, I believe we are the only system that runs 100% cross-platform in the world right now. So here's your standard architecture. Basically, you would load Ignition on the server, and we use that term server loosely. The footprint of Ignition is actually pretty small, so you could load this on a laptop if you wanted to. I'm going to put it on my desktop in a few minutes, all the way up to a high-performance server, whatever you want to use. From that one server, you'll have a connection to your PLCs on the system. So all of this needs to be networked. All of these PLCs need to have an IP address. And then you'll have a connection to your database, which can sit anywhere on the network again. You can, as I said, communicate with multiple databases. And then from there, you can go ahead and launch your clients and designers. You can even launch on mobile devices. We now have a mobile module. So if you're using an iPhone, iPad, Droid, etc., anything with a modern web browser will be able to launch an Ignition client. This architecture is used a lot in water, wastewater, oil and gas, but basically it's where you're connecting to devices that are out in the middle of nowhere. They're kind of unmanned, and usually people don't go out there, but you can install, if possible, a little piece of the software which is called the SQL bridge. So that would be loaded at these remote locations, and then you could have a main central server with a full Ignition software works bundle on it. And the way this works is the SQL bridge will gather data from the these remote locations here and send it over the network to the main central server. If this connection dies, there's a part of Ignition called Store and Forward, which is free. It's built into the SQL bridge. You turn that on, and what it does is it'll continually cache the data coming from these devices, and then when this connection comes back up, it'll forward that information over to the central server, and it'll get all the timestamps correct, so it doesn't look like you're missing any data here. So that's about all I had. I'll go ahead and load the software now so you can take a look at that. Some other things I wanted to mention is that it's really easy to set up redundancy so that if you have a mission critical system, you can have one server be the master and the second one be the slave, and it'll just jump over should the master die, and you shouldn't see a glitch on the client side at all. You can also have support for Active Directory, or you can put the authentication profiles into the Ignition gateway itself. So you have a choice. So with that, let me switch over and open up my browser. So you're welcome to do this as well. So I'm just on my website here, inductiveautomation.com, and what you can do is go to the download section and install Ignition. So you want to fill out this form here, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip it if you don't mind. I'm on a Windows 7 machine, so I'm going to use the Windows installer. If you're using a Linux or a Mac, then you would want to use these installers down here.